I'm going to help you fix probably the most common downswing fault in golf, taking you from this to this, and all you need to do is think about a banana. Let me explain. Let's start by looking at exactly what is happening in those two golf swings. Let's start with the poor golf swing. You can see a graph at the bottom of the screen. That's coming through my Hack Motion device that you can see on my wrist. Now in the poor golf swing, at the top of my swing, I've got an angle here. I've got wrist set, wrist cock, whatever term you want to use it. That graph shows that line going down right after the top of my golf swing. That's me throwing that golf club away and starting to release the club early. That's really, really common. What my trail arm does is really influential. That we'll come to that. The better golf swing, we see something completely different. This is what we tend to see in better players. At the top, yes, I've got a similar angle, but as I start down, you can see that that angle actually narrows by the graph going actually more upwards. I hold that angle for far longer into the downswing before snapping that wrist out, creating more speed and giving me a much better impact. If I can do that, if you can do that, I'm going to teach you how to do that. You're going to get more compression, you're going to get better strikes, and you're going to get more power. And what you can see in the good versus the bad, the better golf swing gives me a fatter banana if we trace the club head. If you have a thinner banana, you're going to struggle with strikes, impacts, all those kind of things. Now there's two things I'm going to teach you in this video which are going to help you achieve that fatter, wider banana. Let's start with the trail arm. Now I've got a little device on my arm. It's a homemade device. You can make one of these really easy. And I want it on the inside of my elbow. If we want this better downswing shape, holding those angles for longer, getting that compression, we've got to look at what the trail arm is doing before we look at what the wrists are doing. When I take a setup, you can see where that tee points relative to the ball. It points in front of it and at, I don't know, maybe a 40-odd degree angle out to my right. When I make a backswing, my arm folds and bends. You can see that there. It's got around about 90 degrees of bend in it. Now on the downswing, what we need to do is have that trail arm lengthening a little bit, not straightening, but lengthening a little bit. But the key point here is as we do that, notice where that tee points. It points pretty much directly back towards the camera, which is different to where it was at the start. That is me keeping some what we call external rotation. Watch what happens if I keep the elbow in place and start to move my hand back towards the target. We start to get something that looks like this. Now look where the tee points. This is one of the most common downswing faults that we see amateur golfers making in that trail arm. Now we're going to be linking that to the wrists because it's what it does to the wrist which is so detrimental. You can see I've got the Hack Motion device there. It's coming through live. So when I get to the top of my golf swing, we're really looking at this angle here, which you can see at the moment it says plus 13, plus 12. That's where I am at the top. The last thing I want to do is have that number very quickly shoot into the minuses, because you can see when it gets to like minus 46, 47, that's me throwing the club away. So we want to keep it in the pluses for as long as we can. So watch what happens when I get to the top and I take my right arm and I make the wrong movement with it. See where the tee peg is pointing? And already we're into minus 43. That wasn't me intentionally doing anything incorrect with my wrists. That was actually me doing something incorrect with my arm, which influences the wrists. So what I would love you to do is create something like this. It's really easy to make. It's going to give you some great visuals. As you set up, that tee points in front of the golf ball. You're going to make a backswing. When I get to the top, I'm going to see that I am at plus 13, plus 14, which is great. If I can make my rehearsal on the way down, feeling like the tee stays pointing back behind the golf ball, guess what? I'm still in a plus position, plus 9, because I've still got those angles in place. As soon as I take my trail arm and I push it out and I get the tee peg to point in towards the target, I'm into minus 35 already. So this trail arm is so key. How are you going to feel it? Dynamically, you're going to use an alignment stick. I love this drill. I've done this before. It's one of my kind of go-to drills to give someone instantly that feeling that I need them to have. Take the alignment stick. This end is going to go into the ground. So that end is going to go up to the left-hand side of your body. And then what you're going to do is you're going to make a backswing and you're going to spear this stick into the ground at an angle like that. Now what that is doing is it's training me to do the right thing here. If I show you that again in kind of slow motion, as I release the alignment stick, where is the tee pointing? Back behind the golf ball. Watch what happens if I do the incorrect move. This end starts to point back at me or up to my left. I can't spear it into the ground. So by simply taking alignment stick, making a backswing and trying to spear it into the ground, what you'll be doing is you'll be leading with your elbow, which is really key. You'll be keeping the rotation of your arm in place, which points this back behind the ball. And you can then extend that right arm down and this goes into the ground. Once I've done that, I can then start to take that feeling through to a shot. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I just switch out my alignment stick for a mid-iron. Tee points in front. Up to the top, we are plus 23. Tee stays behind, plus 14. And we fire the right arm down, which brings us on nicely to what we are doing with our wrists. And I'm going to give you an umbrella drill, which is brilliant to get you to understand what the wrist should be doing. The umbrella drill. Now I've still got my sweatband on because in a moment we're going to put these two exercises together. But what the umbrella drill does is it completely reverses the fault. It takes the fault that is really common and it creates a completely opposite move, which is great. That's what we want to be doing in practice, is feeling and understanding what the opposite move is. So what we're sort of saying is, in the common fault that I see, golfers will create this angle. You can see that's plus 12, and they will then throw that away into a minus. Look at where we start. We start at a minus, a big minus, like minus 49, minus 50. So we start minus, we go to plus, which is me setting the golf club, and then the fault is we go back to a minus. We're going to flip that. This is the umbrella drill. Think about this as not a golf club, but an umbrella. So if I was holding this umbrella, the canopy would be where that club head is. So when I make a backswing, where would that canopy be? Well, it would be sort of, as you can see over there, that wouldn't be above my head. So the umbrella drill is trying to make a backswing where you feel like you're keeping the canopy above your head. Imagine it's raining, imagine you're trying to stay dry. So that would look something like this. Okay, you can see there how that would be me keeping the umbrella above my head. What is my number? Minus 26, minus 27. Essentially, the umbrella backswing means that I haven't yet used my wrists. You can see when I use my wrists, it goes from minus 38 to plus, minus to plus. That's the hack motion measuring what I'm doing with my wrist. So an umbrella backswing means I use no wrists. What I then do is, as I start down, I let the wrists hinge or cock. So rather than us going set and unset, we're starting here, we go no wrists, no wrists, no wrists, and as we start down, then we add in the wrists. Now you can see I'm plus 7. I cannot strike a golf ball better than that. And have a look at that graph. I'm going to make it a little bit, bigger so you can see it. There you go. So you can see that I actually didn't set my wrists really at all, and then I did, and look at how late I uncocked my wrists in the downswing. That's exactly what I want.